Hey everybody, Bobby D here again, and welcome back to the channel. It's still winter and it's still cold here in Michigan, but we're in the garage. We're out here with the Gen 2 ZX10R. Today I'm not going to talk about the bike specifically or any mods to the bike, but I am going to talk about a mod that I think, regardless of your motorcycle, you're probably going to want to follow along and check this content out. And with that being said, we're going to talk about the Radar Detector. How useful are these things on a motorcycle? How hard are they to mount up? What do they cost? We'll go through a few things like that. So let's get at it. It's not real difficult to do this. You want to have the radar detector mounted in a place that it's safely out of the way, bugs, debris, all that kind of stuff that we're exposed to on a motorcycle. And in this case, I've chosen to use a RAM mount, so a phone mount. Works great. I'll go over the couple different reasons why these are my choice option here. So easy to hook on, inexpensive. You can get these on eBay, Amazon. I'll probably already have one for your phone. I've got the kind that hooks through the steering stem mount here with the longer arm on it. The reason I have that is if I pivot this up here, the radar is going to be clamped right on the little spider legs here. It's nice and high, best view through the windscreen. So your windscreen's protecting the radar detector. You don't have to worry about a clear tinted dark smoke. Radar goes through that plastic just as if it were not even there. So your windshield is not a problem. In fact, a tinted one would probably hide the device better. The good thing with using these mounts, you can quickly remove the radar detector. If you're going into a store, you're stopping off at a gathering, you don't want an expensive device, an electronic thing getting swiped, you quickly just, boom, put it in your pocket, you're done. The other thing would be, if you happen to get pulled over by the man, if they see your radar, you know what's happening. Before you actually get wheeled, you can probably pop it off and stow it away. So, good thing with this mount here. As far as powering the radar, you gotta have some power for these things. They're not battery operated. I've got the power cord for my radar right here. It actually looks like an old telephone line for my model. But what I've done is I've strung the power line underneath my fairings, back to my battery, and instead of mounting directly to my battery, I've tied mine into my battery tender lead. And the reason I've done that is this thing I'm holding right here. The battery tender already has an inline fuse, and that's a good idea to have so you don't toast your radar if your bike has some kind of a voltage spike. But I just tapped it right into that. I tucked that underneath there, and that's it. Super, super simple installation to power up the radar detector and mount it. There's lots of different phone mounts, suction cup mounts. I mean, you could build a bracket, but I found this works just awesome. So, how useful is the radar detector on a motorcycle? I'm gonna tell you these work as good as they do in your vehicle, if not better, because when we're on these things, let's face it, we're speeding a lot of the time. If you're doing the Mexican street roll racing, these things, somebody in your group having one of these is a must. I found that the radar detector reaches out in excess of a mile most of the time. That's giving you a mile heads up to check yourself. So usefulness, yeah, totally, it is worth it. One ticket on these things doing what we're doing most of the time, one citation is going to cost you more than the cost of that radar detector. So think about that. So getting to the radar detector. So what I use is the Valentine 1 Gen 2. And this is my Gen 2 right here. These things run about $500. This is an American-made company. These are made in Ohio. At least that's where I believe they are. That's where they're out of. But this is a Valentine 1 Gen 2. And I'll scroll through the specs and everything with these. But I've had this for a couple years now, and it is working great. The nice thing with this type of unit, the Valentine 1, is that unit will Bluetooth to your helmet. So while you're riding, you don't need to worry about staring down at a radar detector mounted right here. You can keep your eyes on the road, you can keep your eyes on your dash, everything you need to be doing to be going as quick as you can, safe as you can, and you can just listen in your helmet for the alerts. It will Bluetooth, or there's actually on the side right there a jack for old school headphones if you want to go that way, because you got so many electronics, GoPros, earbuds, radars running. You can just plug some old school headphones into that if you want. Thing works great. There's also an app You can go back at the app. You can look at how many times you got pegged by a bogey, how many bogeys, what frequencies, where they were at, everything. Valentine 1, Gen 2, check these out. Simple setup. I'll show how it's actually on the bike. I got my hand holding the camera and doing this. Can't hook it on there right now, but works awesome. Quickly pops on and off to put it in your vehicle or on your bike. And I will tell you, I have found over the years, running a radar detector on your bike is essential. It is a God saver. I mean, it just works amazing. It allows you to do what we want to do on these things. So, long-winded, I'm going to end this thing out. Again, if you haven't done so, follow along. Have more content coming out as I'm getting this thing out on the street. But there you have it. That is the mod that you need to be invisible when you're rolling. Till next time.